with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. The Terraist Letters by Ethan Indigo Smith. Letter number 1. Dear infected and afflicted, we are the dropouts. We are Ephraim, Gregory, Nicholas, Romanov.
Peace on Earth, Ethan Indigo Smith here. That's from the Terraist Letters. That's one of the hardest opening lines in any book I know, and I wrote it. Check it out. If you want to support me, I'd really appreciate it. I got a review for this book. I had no idea about this guy, and I didn't know him personally, rather, I want to say. But I had no idea if he would accept my proposition to give me a review. But he was basically one of the only people I asked. Jim Mars, the late great Jim Mars, gave me a proper review on my novel, The Terraist Letters. A very hard opening line. Dear infected and afflicted, we are the dropouts. Anyway, I'm biased to it, right? But a lot of the things that I was inspired by of this fictional book were basically non-fictional ideas that were on the fringe. So Jim Mars, of course, was a logical guy to go to. He told me, Ethan, you're going to get ostracized, you're going to get blackballed, but it could be good for you in the long run, just like it was for me, because I dropped the biggest UFO book in read American history, I think, still. And they all tried to play him out. But he was a great journalist and a great nonfiction writer and researcher on some very fringe topics. He also told me, by the way, with the Terraist Letters, he told me, Ethan, you might be more correct than you are fictional here. So yeah, please support if you are inspired to do so. My point of this video is nonfiction, though. Recently, it's come to my attention that there was an experiment in the United Kingdom. Stratospheric Aerosol, transitory, what is it? Excuse me. It basically stands for Satan. There is an MIT article about it. Stratospheric aerosol transport and nucleation. Satan. The experiment is called Satan. And many people on this topic about so what the experiment is them releasing sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. Many people pertaining to this subject matter have gone on repeating about how this is to dim the sun. Now, I don't know where they get that information from, but I feel like it's an example of people repeating manure that they hear and just repeating it because it sounds nuanced. People want a nuance. And when they find one, even if it's manure, they will repeat it. Now, I'm not defending or decrying the people's intention behind that. But let me start at the beginning. I made the hypothesis that the injection of aerosols into the atmosphere is not to dim the sun. It's something even more frightening than that. The history of nuclear experimentation on the planet is exactly 80 years old this summer, 2025. So the nuclear experiment has been on this planet for 80 years that we know of. There's been well over 2,000 nuclear experimentation detonations, supposedly. And there's been 500 of those that were in the atmosphere or above ground. The term fallout is a simplification of what happens when there is atmospheric nuclear detonations. The particles eventually fall out. However, some of them may not have fallen out. And surely some of them, some radioactive particulate from these 500 plus above ground detonations did not fall out. And so I made the hypothesis years ago, and I definitely got chastised and probably got the website pertaining to helping me share this and myself on several different lists. Writing about the nuclear experiment will do that. So I made the hypothesis that the idea of chemtrails, which I was just observing, not necessarily looking into, but observing, and asking why would anyone inject particles into the upper atmosphere? And then so you look into what these particles were of chemtrails, supposedly what they were. Uh, all kinds of chemicals, all kinds of biologicals, and all kinds of even metals. So I don't know what they were doing, but my hypothesis was not that they were trying to dim the sunlight, but that they were trying to have these nano-sized particulates come together and fall out because they've been in the atmosphere for a long time. In fact, if you look into this, the term saturation means that it is now spread out equally. We've reached the saturation point in the atmosphere. The term nucleation means to transform, like from vapor into a droplet. So transport and nucleation are in this experiment's title. Stratospheric Aerosol, Transport, and Nucleation. Transport and nucleation of what? So the term is Satan, and it's not, I think it's not for them to be Satan. I think it's for them to get at what is the very devilish result of nuclear experimentation. So thank you for listening to me, and I hope this study of the Satan experiment, stratospheric aerosol transport and nucleation, the study that took place in 2023, I believe, there was a whistleblower or a leaker, excuse me, not a whistleblower, but someone leaked that the study took place. The actual data has yet to come out, but what of the results of the experiment is yet to come out. But it was based on releasing sulfur dioxide. One other thing that I didn't mention pertaining to my hypothesis and pertaining to the Satan experiment. Basically, the talk about first sentence in my book. Basically, one of the first sentences in the description of sulfur dioxide is the following: sulfur dioxide forms complexes with many transition metals. So, there you go. The hypothesis remains, and in fact, I think is validated by the stratospheric aerosol transport and nucleation experiment. But I guess we'll all see when the results come out. Again, that took place in the United Kingdom. They did it apparently with a high altitude balloon and $1,000 worth of equipment, including that. So really interesting stuff. And I think it all pertains to nuclear experimentation. Year 80, we enter.